Welcome to Trumpet Challenge Week 7. This week is really all about making and playing. So we named it Make and Play. And what I mean by that is you're going to make your own musical instrument. It's going to be a brass type instrument using a brass mouthpiece, but the rest of the apparatus is up to you. And I have a couple examples I'll share with you today. I've made many different instruments throughout my career. At this point, probably over 2,000 different trumpets, cornets, flugelhorns, and anything else brass related. A couple trombones, a French horn, things like that. So I've spent my life building instruments and experimenting to learn how they work and how to improve them and how to make new sounds and hopefully new discoveries. And most of my technology is based on experience, both my personal experience performing my instruments and the experience of my clients. And today I'd like to really bring this to you, the challengers, and see what you come up with. I'd like to see you make your own version of a brass instrument and then share something played on that instrument and tell us a little bit about it. So today I'm going to share with you a couple simple instruments you've probably seen before. The first is a hosophone, which is right here. And a hosophone is basically some hose. This is some acrylic tubing, and I put a mouthpiece receiver on this because I have one. And I also put a vintage French Besson piccolo trumpet bell on this one. So we will play this and see how it sounds, and then I'll share with you another version. Well, that doesn't sound right. I'm on the wrong partial. So this is a simple little hosophone. I just cut some tubing, put it together, taped one end to a piccolo bell, and then I squeezed a receiver on the other end. Because I'm a machinist and a trumpet maker, I have these things in my shop. But you can make something of your own. It can be made out of wood or cardboard or plastic. You can 3D print it. You can fabricate it out of metal. You can make it out of aluminum foil. You could make it out of a garden hose, whatever you like. The most creative, interesting, and nicest sounding instruments are going to win. What you win will be a surprise next week. But you will always win our Trumpet Bell Trophy for the Trumpet Challenger, who wins Week 7. You'll also win an entry into the drawing for this carbon fiber HT6 Trumpet. All right, I'm going to show you my other instrument, which is not a hosophone. This one is a natural trumpet. And this is one I just pieced together as well. It's so big, you're not going to see the whole thing on the camera. So let me see if I can fit it in this room without breaking anything. That's the instrument. I'm going to stand way back here and attempt to play it for you without knocking anything over. So there we have a natural trumpet made out of one long piece of tubing. I think that was a 6-foot piece, a mouthpiece receiver, my mouthpiece, and a B-flat trumpet bell. Let me flip it all the way over so you can see it. I like to think of it as some kind of a weapon. It's time to see who is Week 6 Trumpet Challenge champion and who will be entered in to the drawing for the carbon fiber HT6 Trumpet. Remember, each champion receives one of our championship bells. And this little bell is 3D printed. It says 2018 champion, Harrelson Trumpet Challenge. So we're only giving away one of these per week. And I think it's a real honor to be able to get this because it means that you put forth your effort, you put yourself out there on YouTube in front of millions of people, and you went for it. So I really appreciate all of our participants and everyone that's watching. I encourage all of you to invite your friends, your family members, your colleagues to share either by participating or at least checking out your videos and checking out the videos of all the competitors, because we can all learn from one another. The idea here is that we become more and more of a community as trumpet players and eventually as even brass players, because we will eventually open it up to other brass instruments as well. So, who is Week 6 Jazzical, the Trumpet Challenge champion? Let's find out. So Jazzical was all about taking a jazz tune and making it classical, or a classical tune and making it jazz. It seems most of you enjoyed taking classical tunes and turning them into jazz tunes. And I know that I required you to participate with another person. A couple of you didn't follow that, you participated with yourself. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, because they're the rules, then you are disqualified, just because I want it to be fair for everyone. However, I still appreciate your entries, and you can still enter any week you like, even if you don't qualify, just for fun. So, for those of you who did collaborate with another musician, at least one other person, then you did some really amazing work, and the collaboration part is key, because I want this to be something that you work with other musicians. And since that was one of the stipulations, that is weighed quite heavily in this week's challenge. So I want to review a couple of the videos, just so we can see what others have done. The first is Alex, who did a jazz rendition of The Four Seasons. All right, so our next entry was a duet. This was Cameron and Jaden, and they played Danny Boy. Now, there are a lot of really classical tunes, if you can say it that way. And not all classical genres are the same. Some of them are early, like Baroque or Renaissance, and others could be like from the Romantic era. Well, today we have an entry from Seth playing Pachelbel's Canon. Now this is one of my favorite entries, because as a high school trumpet player, I really worked hard to play this concerto. I didn't really nail it until many years later. The Haydn Trumpet Concerto by Brian.
Swung version of Haydn's Trumpet Concerto, Movement 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So the next entry was from Jay, and I want to bring this one up because he did a really great job. He did some challenging things and he took some risks. This was on trumpet, flugelhorn, and piccolo. Our next challenger took on a really beautiful piece, Chopin's Nocturne. This is Garrick. Now Jacob took things just a little bit further. He created pictures at an exhibition in a jazz format, almost like a live performance. It seemed like a live performance to me. And this was with a full jazz combo. It's interesting to note that we had 2 entries of the same piece. So this must be one of the coolest pieces to play on trumpet. Pictures at an Exhibition by Chris. So who is this week's Trumpet Challenger champion? Well, taking all things into consideration, I believe that the championship bell goes to Jacob. Congratulations, I loved your rendition of Pictures at an Exhibition with the full jazz combo, taking solos, playing trumpet and flugelhorn. I mean, it was amazing. So you really made it feel high energy, like a real performance. I'm hoping that you had some people in the audience to check that out while you were performing it. And it was very convincing. It was a lot of fun. And thank you all to all of our entries. I know I didn't get to mention all of you, but I appreciate everything that you've done. And I look forward to seeing next week's Trumpet Challenge. And what does the winner of this week's challenge receive? Well, let me introduce you to this beautiful set of jazz finger buttons to fit your make and model trumpet. Congratulations.